Hello and welcome to the Unplug Meditation Podcast. I'm Susie L.F. Schwartz, and I'm so excited to bring with you one of my favorite teachers, Rita Black. She's someone that I went to personally, fell in love with what she did, and decided to share her with the world on the Unplug Meditation app and now on Beachbody On Demand. So I'd like to welcome Rita Black. Rita, if you can come on here. Amazing.
Hello, Susie. How are you? It's so good to
I'm
have you.
good. Thank you so much for coming on to the Unplugged podcast.
Oh my gosh, it's such a pleasure. It's so great that you guys have a podcast now.
We
And
literally just launched it. So you're one
so
of the first
cool.
people that are going to be on it. But I'm so excited to share what you do because I went to you personally because I needed to stop my relationship with stress eating. And you did a personalized meditation for me that was so good that I had to share it on the Unplug app. And now thousands and thousands of people globally. You're
I
also in French, Spanish, and for the hearing
I
captain.
love that because I'm not a language person. I love that I have been transcribed into different languages. That's so perfect.
Yeah, and I just think what you do is so incredible. One of the things that I wanted to talk to you a little bit about is your book. Can you flash the cover for us for a
Oh,
second?
yes. Okay, thank you.
Tell us about it.
Called From Fat to Thin Thinking, Unlock Your Mind for Permanent Weight Loss. Thank you for letting me share a little bit about the book. So the book is basically taken from my I've been doing what I do, helping people lose weight with hypnosis for over 20 years. I am somebody who struggled with my own weight up and down the scale, 40 pounds for since I was 8 until I was 30. And I used hypnosis both to stop smoking, and then once I understood about the power of hypnosis, I learned how to lose weight and with using my mind in a different way. Because um, I hope you don't mind, Susie. I'm kind of going about this the long way just to get into what the book is about. So, like when you want to make a change, like stopping smoking, or when you want to make a change, like you were struggling with some stress eating, most people who struggle with their weight know everything they need to know about losing weight consciously, right? Most people who struggle with weight could write their own diet book and have people lose weight, right? Because we know consciously about all this stuff. But the problem with the way the brain is designed is that much bigger part of our mind, the subconscious mind, is where our beliefs and our habits and our identity all exist. So when that conscious mind says, I want to go on a diet, or I want to cut out sugars, I don't want to stress eat anymore, let me, not eat when I go home tonight, it's really a very small part of your mind that's being impacted. So what we've learned by using hypnosis is that there's a filter really between the conscious and the subconscious mind, and this filter is filtering out our desires, like so that 88% of your mind, basically, which is your subconscious, is working against the other 12% when it comes to losing weight. The conscious, like, I want to lose weight part of the mind, is like, I want things to stay the same, mind is in our subconscious. So getting to the idea of the book and the process is I take people through a 30-day hypnosis based process with meditation as well, because meditation is also very helpful for accessing the subconscious mind. You're just basically getting the mind into a relaxed, more open state where deeper changes can be made, because change always happens on a subconscious level. So the 30-day process is a combination of using cognitive behavioral coaching with hypnosis to start to get people moving forward out of what I would call the weight struggle cycle, which is we typically will go on a diet or try to lose weight, and we'll get to a certain, what I would call a struggle point. And that's a habitual point. Like for you, Susie, it was stress, right? Like you could probably eat healthfully all week, but then you get to Friday and it's been a stressful week. And then maybe you'd go out and eat too much. And then, a typical weight struggler would be like, well, I blew it, so I'll start again tomorrow, or I'll start again on Monday. And this is what we call the weight struggle cycle. Is you know perfectly well how to lose weight, but we get against these struggle points, whether it's a stressful time in our life or going out on the weekend or something that we habitually do that takes us out of our being consistent and throws us back into starting over. And then what's really frustrating is then that we don't get that weight loss, or we'll lose 5 pounds and gain it back. We'll lose 10 pounds and we'll gain it back over and over. And then that takes, what happens on a subconscious level is we become habitualized to that. So we actually, that becomes a habit. And then two, we start to see ourselves as a failure. We start to see that, oh, I'm somebody who can't manage my weight. I'm undisciplined. I'm lazy. We get very critical of ourselves. So the process really is about reconnecting with yourself and learning to communicate with yourself on a subconscious level differently, so that that self-criticism and that rebelliousness then turns into self-coaching, and you're able to coach yourself through those struggle points using, and so we use hypnosis as a way to be able to have more control over those impulses, but also to start to learn to communicate with yourself differently, because the way we communicate with ourselves around food and the way we see ourselves is very subconscious. So that is the breakthrough for most people, is not only just in weight, but weight loss, but really feeling great about themselves because they're communicating with themselves more powerfully on a day-to-day basis. And they say, you know, like that. And so the book, getting to the book, From Fat to Thin Thinking, is so I used to do these 30-day, so an all-day process with hypnosis, and then followed by a 30-day follow-up online. And From Fat to Thin Thinking is basically, when you read it, it's like that, the all-day process. And then included in the price of the book is actually a 30-day online process with hypnosis, daily meditation, to that, you know, takes you through the exact same process. And if you go to Amazon and you look it up, you'll see it's, people lose a lot of weight on this process. And the great thing is it's really geared towards long-term permanent weight loss. So it's not just losing weight and gaining it back, but people, I have clients who have been with me for, or not with me, but who came to my process 15 years ago. They lost their weight and they've kept it off for, you know, 15 years. So it's like, there's a lot of success stories, because once you use your mind more deeply, as you know, because this is what you're all about, Susie, when using the mind more effectively, we have so much more power than we think we do. So that's what's so exciting. And it took me so long to write this book, because at the time my kids were younger and everything. So I love this book, and I'm glad it's made an impact in the world. And then I do online processes as well.
I have to say the book has made an impact on me, because when I read it, because you actually gave me a copy after our session, and I read it, and I told my mom and my sister, I'm like, it's almost like you were speaking directly to me. It was like my inner voice. Everything that I feel personally was in that book. And
Oh,
it was amazing, because we all think we're so unique. But I guess at the end of the day, when it comes to food and our struggle with it, we really have so much in common. We say
yeah,
we're bad. We're bad when we ate a cookie, when we were bad when we ate a
yeah,
piece of cake, when we're kind of find ourselves just not even aware of the fact that we're eating a ton of cereal and we don't even realize it,
yeah,
and then we feel bad and we're like, oh, we went this far already. Let's just, enjoy the rest of the day. And then you're like 10 pounds up. So you really
yeah.
just capture all of that so simply and so amazing. And I love it. Um, okay, so there are a lot of people, I think, in the world who don't understand hypnosis. They're scared of it.
Right.
And I probably was one of them before I kind of dived into it a little bit. And to
Yeah.
me, when I did the session with you, first of all, I didn't really feel like I was under, but yet it really did make an impact. So I want to kind of talk about how, when it comes to hypnosis, you really need to go to someone who you can trust. And I trust you implicitly, Rita, and I
Oh,
know
thank
you.
you.
And I've listened to your meditations as your producer on the app, where
Yes.
I'm open-eyed,
My
fully.
amazing producer, I must say. You're so
I have
great.
to say, like, it's just fun, simple, easy, and you're not going into anything other than bad habits of overeating and eating the
Right.
wrong food. So can you talk to us a little bit about hypnosis and that hurdle that you might cross with clients?
Oh, for sure. I love that you asked that question. I think when I started my practice 20 years ago, I got a lot more people who were very leery of hypnosis. And I think it's founded in, you see hypnosis shows and you think, you see the people like doing crazy things on stage, embarrassing themselves. And you think, I would get asked all the time, are you going to make me bark like a dog? It's like, no, but maybe we'll make you eat like a bird. I don't know. Like the idea is that you are always in control, and why I create and develop my goal and my mission is to create hypnosis-based transformational processes. The hypnosis is like the key in the lock, like unlocking your mind, right? But in order for that to happen, in order for hypnosis to be truly impactful, you need to want the change. I think a lot of people don't understand that hypnosis is a tool and not like a potion or this sort of like wave of the wand, like this. I joke, like if I had all that power, my husband would pick up his socks, like I could make my husband pick up his socks, or I could make my son, get his homework done without having to scream at him. But, I'm not that magical. But what I am is very passionate, and I try to prepare people even before we do hypnosis for this success and for them to know that they can have that success, because I think you need to go into hypnosis with a very open yes attitude. I get people asking me all the time, like, because I also help with smoking cessation, and I have a very successful and impactful both an online program, and then I see people one-on-one. And in I get people like in my Smoke Free 123 online program, people will write me, like they'll watch my master class and they'll say, hey, I've done hypnosis before. How is yours different? It didn't work for me.
Mhm.
And I say to them, I say, because I prepare you to be successful. Because I think a lot of hypnotherapists will just sit you in the chair or send you a CD of hypnosis. And unless you go into that, like, I'm so excited, I'm really engaged in what I'm doing. And you start to you want to have to believe in yourself. Like you said, Susie, trust the process. The conscious mind is a filtering system for the subconscious mind. So if you come into this like, yeah, we'll see what happens, or you're going to do it to me, you're going to make me want to quit smoking, or you're going to make me want to lose weight,
Mhm.
you aren't going to get a successful outcome. You want to go in, it's like, I'm so ready to be a non-smoker. I'm so ready to let go of this night eating habit. And I can see what my nights would look like as, being free from night eating. Like you want the brain excited and engaged. And I think with meditation too, and the value of meditation and guided meditation is that our imaginations are so powerful and we don't really engage our imaginations. But what I say to people who are fearful of hypnosis is that it's important to find somebody that you trust and knows what they're doing.
Mhm.
But the good news is that you cannot be made to do anything that you don't want. I think stage hypnotists are very interesting because they're very good at crowd control. They get people up on the stage and they will look at, I've studied with stage hypnotists before. They say, get a bunch of people up on stage, have them do some basic inductions, and you see who responds. You tell the people who don't respond very well, go sit down. And then you have those people who are either very hypnotizable. There's certain people who are called somnambulistic, which means they can go into trance states super quick. And you probably know this from like meditation, like probably some of your practice.
I really don't. I never
Right.
got that far.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, some people can go into like trance like that, and some people it just takes a little more time. So it's up to the hypnotherapist to, like, when you're working one-on-one, to really make sure that people do, like, so when I do more audio hypnosis, I try to do a long enough thing so for those people who aren't going to, and like you said, you didn't feel like you weren't floating in a cloud or you weren't falling into the floor. Like if anybody has seen that movie Get Out, and Deborah, forget the actress's name, but she has the teacup and she's doing the thing, and you know, it really makes hypnosis seem like you've got that authority and control over somebody, but really somebody needs to want that change for it truly to happen. So the good news is that you can't be made to do anything. And in a hypnosis session, you could open your eyes and walk up and leave the office. It's not like you're, in this trance state so deeply. A lot of my hypnosis sessions are, engaging your imagination. So I think a lot of people expect to blank out or, not even like they're surprised, like, oh, I heard you during the session. I didn't think I was going to hear you. But in the session itself, like I don't know if you remember the session we did, but you needed to do stuff, you needed in your imagination to engage.
Yeah. I love the part where you kind of had me go into the control center of my own mind and turn
Yes.
down sugary carbohydrates, like all the bad food. So it was kind of like that movie that came out, Inside Out, where
Yes.
remember that cartoon where they go into the brain and they're all controlling.
Yes.
So I felt like I was able to do that and actually see the areas that were on high
Right.
needed to be put on low.
Right.
And that's the key, like
Yeah.
being able to actually connect with your mind and
Yes.
see the changes that you want to make on the inside. And you were able to facilitate that for me. And now for thousands on Beachbody On Demand and on the Unplug
So
app,
exciting. Yeah. I
uh,
love being able to
in
make such a
French and
difference.
Italian and captions. Like it's just cool because the truth is, it's like anybody could do this. Now, I want to ask you a question that I think is interesting, and that is it more effective one-on-one versus like your audios or the app or that kind of thing?
Yeah. That's a really good question. I think one-on-one or, like I do group processes online allows you that connection and accountability. But they have done studies and they have seen that audio hypnosis can be as impactful as in-person hypnosis
Mhm.
as far as like the actual hypnosis itself. Um, and my From Fat to Thin Thinking, which is audio, and I'm not involved in it at all. People get amazing results. So um, I have to say that I do think that there are some people who need that in touch, one-on-one, and
Mhm.
have something very specific that you need to work on, or you are somebody who, a lot of my clients are like, I want that accountability and I want that connection to you. But, a lot of people can't afford to come to, it's not just me, but just like to constant hypnotherapy. But you can
It's
get it.
expensive.
It's expensive. It gets expensive, and you can get the impact from an audio if it's a good audio and if the person, prepares you um and knows what they're doing. But yeah,
It's expensive, but it's worth it because at the end of the day, what's more expensive is when you become ill.
yes. Oh,
Okay. So whether it's cigarettes that are killing you, I'd
mm,
rather spend the money stopping smoking and investing in that as opposed to you're smoking 2 packs a day and the next thing you know you spent the $300 on the cigarettes, so you can avoid that. So you can justify anything, but
right,
I think at the end of the day, like, it's preventative.
right.
It really is, for both obesity and also smoking. So
Oh, for sure. And especially like my online smoking cessation program is not expensive. And if somebody says, it's too expensive,
how much is it, just out of curiosity?
it's if you go through my master class, because I have a master class, it's under $100. So
That's
um,
like nothing.
that's
Think
nothing.
about
It's
that.
like a week's worth of cigarettes or
Yes.
vaping pods, because I offer a vaping bonus on the thing.
Do you think that vaping works as well as the
The
cigarette?
smoking cessation. I do think so. I mean, I've worked with a number of people who vape. mean, vaping is a little different than smoking in that what happens when and you'll appreciate this, Susie, from eating, like stress eating perspective, is when the brain in your subconscious mind eating that cookie, it isn't just about the cookie, it's about everything that happens around the cookie, sitting, giving yourself a break. It's a reward.
Mhm.
For people who smoke, um, and I'm a former pack and a half a day smoker. Like remember stepping outside, you get that break, you get that 10 minutes, and to the brain, that's like, oh, this is like something special. So the brain will bug you, your dopamine center, which is will agitate you for the cookie or for the cigarette, will say, oh, go do that. That's going to be fun. Now you could smoke. A lot of people will say, well, but when the second I light a cigarette, I'm like, why am, like, why am I doing this? It's gross. Or, like after 3 bites of a cookie, you don't even experience the cookie anymore. Like your mouth experience goes from like 90% down to 20%.
Mhm.
You're basically standing there kind of mindlessly finishing the cookie and yet, getting all the calories from the cookie or, like choking yourself with smoke. But with vaping, what's interesting is because the dopamine center in the brain, basically, because with smoking nowadays, most people have to go outside to smoke or down the street to smoke. Like it's an event. People have to remove themselves from their life to go and smoke.
Right.
Whereas with vaping, people can wake up, reach over, grab their, jewel, start puffing on that thing, go to the bathroom, go to the kitchen, puff, 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 and really pretty much constantly be doing it because the brain knows like I can vape now. I can vape now. So the dopamine center is just constantly bugging you for the.
Mhm.
So in a way, the weird thing is that stopping vaping can be. It's like when people used to chain smoke. They'd wake up, reach for their cigarettes, light, and kind of smoke in their house and everything. It's not as important to their brain as that person who at 10 o'clock leaves their desk, goes outside, and has that kind of brain break. So, in a way, once somebody is really clear they want to stop, stopping vaping can be easier because the payoff, and they're so enslaved by that habit. Like it's like people just come and they're like, oh my God, I am doing this from the time I wake up until the time I go to bed at night. And it like, help me. Um, whereas with smoking, sometimes, unless the person is like 60 years old with emphysema or COPD, it's not as in their face, if that makes sense. All
100.
the smells and all that stuff. But yeah, it's an interesting, I mean, like I'm endlessly fascinated by how the brain works around all this and works around desire and it works around carbohydrates because carbohydrates are very addictive and for some people more so than others. And I feel like it's like with nicotine, some people are genetically predisposed for nicotine and some people aren't. That's why some people will smoke a cigarette and never smoke again. And some people end up smoking 2 packs of cigarettes a day.
I was a 2 pack of cigarette a day smoker and I quit with hypnosis. So, and I had to be hypnotized by 3 different people. So by the third, so if at first you don't succeed, try again.
Try
And
again.
I
Yeah.
have to say also about your hypnosis for weight loss on the Unplug meditation app, it's not a one and done. Like I
Right.
genuinely believe that we're lucky because we have hypnosis for loss, and then we have morning weight mastery and afternoon weight mastery.
Right.
So I think it's very important to be able to do it over and over again and
Yeah.
not a one and done because because the more you do it, the better it is.
Well, and the thing with smoking cessation is you never have to smoke again. But really with weight management, it is you have there's first of all, the first thing we do when we're born into, onto this planet is somebody puts some food in our mouth, by bottle or by boob or whatever. And and we have a relationship with food from very early on. That's very deep primitive conditioning. And
Right.
then we always have to eat food. And then it's culturally and it's all around us all the time. So yeah, it's not one and done. Like the people who come to me and they stop smoking in one session, they're like, okay, now you can do the same. You're just gonna one session and it's gonna be, and I'm like, no, it's actually more of a process because you have to really rehabituate yourself and change the way that you think around food and exercise. Like there's so many components to weight management other than just not eating or eating less. There's many, so much of it has to do with how we communicate with ourselves. But what to just put a plug in for the unplug thing, what is I think is so great about those three pieces is that one is a deep hypnosis session, but the morning one is so important because we go into our days and we think, oh, well, I can change that habit at 5 o'clock tonight. But once you get to 5 o'clock, you have nothing left. Like in your brain is so tired that the best time to succeed with weight management is in the morning when your brain is fresh and to really see your day through. And that's how that morning meditation really turns your brain on and creates a roadmap through your day. And there's this thing called the reticular activation system that is what we really engage in that morning meditation, which is seeing it, feeling like I'm going to go to bed tonight, feeling fantastic, light, like I exercised, like I fed myself beautifully. And the brain in the morning goes, oh, okay, that feels good. Like, let's do that. Let's create that. Let's make that happen. So when you've had like that desire for something like to go to the reunion and you want to look wonderful and you're willing to, your brain will help you align, or you want to buy that bike, or you want to go on that vacation, but you need to budget your money to do that. But you want it so bad, and your brain can feel like, oh, I'm going to be on the beach of Hawaii if I don't go out this weekend. And if I don't eat out on the weekends, and if I budget it and everything, your brain will help you align behind that, but in many different ways. It's very flexible and it will do that. But you have to get the brain excited about something, because fear doesn't create change. And I think a lot of times with smoking cessation, people are very afraid to stop smoking. But once you can make them see like, this is going to be amazing and you're going to feel amazing, and then their brain is like very much more open to that. And it's
Right.
with weight loss. I think people think you're going to take all that food away from me and I'm going to be just left feeling deprived, rather than becoming masterful at managing your weight is one of the most confidence imbuing or building things that you can do. And when you change that, like you were saying, Susie, like everybody has this horrible relationship with themselves around the area of food. Like I work with really highly functioning people, celebrities, people who run Fortune 500 companies, and they'll say, my relationship, like, why does everything else in my life work? Like I'm really highly functioning in all these areas of my life, and yet I am like just an imbecile when it comes to feeding myself effectively and taking care of my body.
Right.
And it's because our relationship with ourselves gets very broken down in the way we talk to ourselves. We wouldn't talk to anybody on the face of the planet the way we talk to ourselves about our bodies and how we feed ourselves. And when we change that, it changes your life, because like we think, oh, weight loss, it's so vain, and it's so like, like we can get very, down on like, well, it's only weight loss and that's not that important and there's bigger fish to fry. But really, ultimately, at the end of the day, how you take care of yourself is how you live your life.
Right.
That way you engage yourself, it just opens you up to so much more. So that's why I love helping people in this area, because it isn't just about weight. For me, it's really about changing that communication and seeing people just transform themselves, not just in the weight, but in their lives. So,
I I agree. I think that's such a beautiful way to look at it, because I feel when I'm taking care of myself, I'm waking up and I'm working out and I'm meditating and I'm eating healthy. I feel so empowered versus when I wake up and I don't meditate, I don't work out, and then I scarf down 6 bowls of cereal. I'm just like mad at, I don't feel good. And
no,
I think that if everybody can know, it's so simple. It's so simple to feel good.
right.
Um, and there are tools to help you. There are amazing tools, whether it's the Unplug app where you click a button and you can like wake up and meditate, or
Oh, and that's so user friendly. I mean,
right,
people to be able to just click on to a different thing every day, what they need. you
Yeah,
know.
or even just close your eyes and breathe. You don't even need an app. You don't even, and like once you learn, get your hands on your book, you don't even need anything. You can just like read that book and do it for yourself. You can
Right.
self-hypnotize, you can self-meditate,
Exactly. Well, all
self-workout, motivate. So whether you need someone holding your hand through the process like I do, because that was me, or if you want to learn the tools to do it for yourself, you can do that too. So thank you so much, Rita. I really appreciate that you took the time. And for anybody who is listening to this or watching this on YouTube, this is a woman who I trust implicitly.
Thank
So I highly recommend Rita Black. And you can find her at
You can find me at www.shiftweightmastery.com. You can find me on Shift Weight Mastery on Instagram and also on Facebook. And you can grab on Amazon From Fat to Thin Thinking, Unlock Your Mind for Permanent Weight Loss, or for smoking cessation, smokefree123.com.
and is there any question that you wish I asked you that I didn't ask?
Gosh, you asked really awesome questions. I feel like we've covered a lot of ground. I'm complete.
I'm happy to hear that. So am I. So thank you. And thank
But
you
I want
everybody
to
for
thank
listening.
you, and I want to thank you for all uh, the greatness you provide for people by creating that Unplug app. It is so user friendly. It's so beautiful, and then also your studios in LA, which of course, are being underutilized right now, but in the future, like they're the most serene and beautiful places. You've really created an amazing haven for people to come to. So thank you.